Welcome to Heartwork. My name is Karice. I invite you to make yourself a cup of tea, light a candle, light an incense, which is what I'm actually about to do here. Just to get us kind of grounded in the present moment so I can be here regardless of how our day went, of what's happening in our world, inner and outer alike. I also want to invite you to take a breath with me. We're going to breathe in for 4, hold for 2, and exhale for 6, really releasing any stress. So breathing in and holding and exhaling. And before we jump into what Heartwork is, a few disclaimers. I will be speaking with transparency, very vulnerable, raw, and open. Everything is unscripted and real, speaking more from the way I think, and sometimes it's non-linear, sometimes it's vivid. I'm choosing authenticity over perfect, polished podcast. A lot of this is my reality through my lenses and my lived experiences. So what is Heartwork specifically to me, and why did I choose this name for a podcast? So I have been healing for over a decade, since I was 11, on my own healing journey, breaking free from conditioning, systematic beliefs, generational trauma, adversity, my childhood trauma, and everything in between. And it's hard work, healing matters of the heart. That's kind of where the name comes from. It's so rewarding, but it's not easy. Consciously, actively choosing to face your shadows, to face generational curses, all matters of the heart, takes courage. It hurts to heal the heart, to face systems that oppressed you or people that did. Heartwork is going to be a space where I speak about all my lived experiences, what I've learned from them, what they've helped me realize. Just all matters of the heart, from childhood to adulthood and everything in between. Why am I starting Heartwork right now? So this idea of this podcast actually was planted last September. I had the privilege to talk about my awakening at 11 years old and what that's brought me to a group of individuals. And I felt I completely bombed it. I just feel like I could have done so much better. I feel I didn't even really get to where I wanted and the points I wanted to make. And I don't know if it was due to my first ever time speaking, especially about something so raw and vulnerable in person in a group of people that I've only met one other time before. I don't know if it was because I was on a time crunch or I spent too much time practicing the night before and I was just triggered by my own trauma. Whatever it may be, the whole idea of me speaking at this event was a very bonfire style. How when we hear someone's experiences, We can see parts of ourselves in them and learn from them without being a teacher or a guru, just simply being human. And I realized that I've lived through so much. I've experienced so much. And I've taken every single day of my life as an opportunity to learn and to grow. And since a little girl, I've always believed that my voice and my hands and my heart would help heal people in society. I didn't know what that looked like, but that was one of my strongest, still is my strongest beliefs of what I'm here for and what I'm meant to do. And through that bonfire event, Heartwork was formed. It started off as just a seed, an idea, a thought. Can I really do this? Should I really do this? And I sat with it and I said, yes, I really should. I have really valuable experiences in life, things that have brought me to certain conclusions. And if every podcast I could have one person not have to deal with the pain I've been dealt or experience the things that I've experienced to come to these same conclusions, then that's all I desire. That's the true happiness. If one podcast can help change and shift the perspective of one person just through what I went through, that already has me smiling. That already makes me happy. Just the thought of holding a space of true raw vulnerability within myself and what I went through, and potentially helping someone else. Now, I said this seed got planted in September of last year, and here I am, Friday, February 13th of the following year, releasing my first pilot episode. The reason why it took me so long is because although I had this seed planted, although I just spoke, I had a deep fear of being fully seen, fully heard. I have started my awakening and my healing journey at 11 years old, but I'm still fairly young. The idea of people aren't going to listen to me, of what I have to say, the idea of that I need to learn more and heal more to be of use to society and people. All of these fears, all of these conditioned beliefs. And then around November or December, everything shifted and changed. I realized synchronicities in my life that brought me here into this very moment of knowing a good amount of things because I was able to study for a long time. Despite my age, knowing and learning so many things has brought me to this very moment. And then a lot of illusions started falling in society as a whole. Files being released, truths coming out, people seeing what I saw 11 years ago. And I realized, Karice, you can no longer shut up. You can no longer hide behind shields or dimming yourself, hiding away who you fully are to make yourself more comfortable. The time to act is now. Your wholehearted belief in what you are here for, the time is now. The times are changing. There's a shift in collective consciousness, and your words, your wisdom, your experiences are meant to be broadcasted. And I had to wipe away all of the fears, every single fear that I have. The loyalties and ties that I still have to some of my abusers, I had to let go. And now for a month, I've been posting on social media about things that I've learned, key beliefs that I have that will help us during these times in this shift. And 60 seconds is not a lot of time when what's happening with everything is so intricate, so multifaceted. 60 seconds to 90 seconds or 3 minutes max for the algorithm to push the things I have to say is just not enough time. But I've been posting for about a month on social media and I realized, okay, you know you don't have enough time. You know you've wanted to make this podcast. This is what I thought I would start doing. And then I would start posting on social media just to promote my podcast. But things don't always go what we think they'll go, but they go the way they're meant to. Divine timing. I released so many of my fears, so many of my loyalties, and now I want to provide more than just a 60-second clip. I want to provide my experiences, my viewpoints, not to change, not because they're superior, and not to change other people's, but just simply to bring awareness and help others see in different lights, not because mine's right or the absolute truth, because sometimes a change in perspective can become a change in our reality. And now, when I first started this idea, the podcast was going to be a lot about loving ourselves more and what that looks like. And I wanted to do Friday Night Love, where I talked about ways that I've seen lack of self-love in others and the way that I've increased my self-love in myself. That's all I really thought about for Heartwork. I knew I was going to keep Heartwork as a umbrella to then, change and grow with me as I am a ever-evolving being myself. But then everything changed, and I realized I have spent a little bit over a decade unlearning these systematic conditionings, these self-limiting beliefs, these propagandas and chains held us in place of complacency and illusions. I've unlearned family beliefs, family ties. I've unlearned so much. And I think we need a little bit more of that. So while Friday Night Love will be about self-love and all its aspects, and maybe just love in general, because Friday's ruled by Venus, which is the planet of love, there will also be Heartwork, unlearning, which will talk about deprogramming, systematic conditioning, family ties, generational trauma, all of the things and systems and beliefs that keep us stagnant, keep us complacent, keep us dysregulated, weak, and unwilling to see different realities. So that will also be a section, probably a primary section that I will be focusing on more, just because of where the times are right now. And then there will also just be Heartwork, where sometimes I have incredible epiphanies randomly on a day I hung out with a friend I haven't seen in years, that don't really follow a specific love or unlearning. While they both are prevalent, it's not just one. And so I might just have sections of where I just say, hey, this is what I've come to conclusion-wise, and this is how. Here's how my day went. Here's how my week went. Here's how therapy went. however it may be. Lastly, before we end the pilot, some triggers that I will be discussing, and some other disclaimers. So this space isn't created with a specific age demographic in mind, or like an age limit. I believe conversations about healing and awareness are important across all generations. That being said, I do trust listeners and guardians to make decisions that feel appropriate for them and their age. Now, some triggers. As I've kind of said, I've been through a lot, and because I'm speaking through my experiences, there will be a lot of discussion about sexual assault, substance abuse, chaotic home environments, emotional and physical neglect, of course, the systematic oppression, mental health, political themes, power dynamics, all forms of abuse other than just sexual, verbal, mental, spiritual, physical, all of them. I can't think of any other things that might trigger people. I think something could always trigger someone. But I did have a pretty rough childhood. And so there will be some pretty rough, raw, deep, triggering topics that are discussed during these episodes. I think that's all I wanted to talk about to welcome everyone into Heartwork and discuss what it's about. I do want to just end this episode with another breath, and I'm going to pull an oracle card just to have a little bit of collective words from Earth Magical Oracle card. So let's take another 4 to 6 breath. They're amazing for really getting us into that parasympathetic nervous system. So I'll start us breathing in, holding, and exhaling. I'm going to shuffle the cards a little bit and see what card wants to come out for the collective. Oh, she really wanted to be seen. What do we have here? We have, well, winter solstice, reflection. Isn't that fitting? Let's see what the quick description of the I don't know if I should say this. I mean, I'm saying it now. My podcast will probably be anywhere between 30 to 60 minutes because I'm a yapper. Also just because, again, just so much can go into so many things. And I think one of the biggest stressors when it came to that bonfire event is I was so cut on time. So winter solstice reflection. This midpoint of winter is not only the shortest day of the year, but also the longest night. The world is very still and the land dormant. Various festivals of lights are celebrated and have been for thousands of years, serving as a reminder that the light will indeed return. Throughout many cultures, there are tales describing this time as the birth of the archetype Sun King, including the Christian story of Jesus' birth, representing the hope of renewal from the darkest period of the solar cycle. This image portrays a simple yet powerful representation of the winter solstice. We see a clear reflection of the snowy woods on the still frozen waters of the lake. The blue tint drapes the scene with an even greater sense of quiet and solace, inviting us to walk very softly, lest we disturb the intense yet gentle grace of this scene. The reflection of the trees on the frozen lake reminds us that this is a time for us to go inside to both our physical shelter as well as our internal world, and there contemplate the season that has passed, the season that is, and the seasons yet to come. I just love oracles. They're just so fitting, I think, for the first of my podcast intro, and also just where we are at as a society. I'm going to just read the last bit. So, review the past year and ask yourself what the most important lessons you have had to learn are, what you have accomplished, and what dreams and visions you want to manifest in the upcoming year. Whether it has been a relatively smooth ride or a challenging series of events, acknowledge your experience as being the work of Source, no matter what your judgments, fears, or joys are. Honor whatever has happened over the previous several months with gratitude and forgiveness, then let it go. Allow yourself some solitude so you can spend some quiet, slow time in reflection. Once you feel complete, reflect on your present life, especially focusing on what you are grateful for. When you are finished, consider what is to come, all the different possibilities and potential that exist before you. Allow your imagination to roam without limitation or ambition and see what shows up. Notice how you feel in your body with whatever scenario plays out in your mind. These are previews of that which is gestating and can manifest and grow when cared for properly. Patience and stillness is called for here, for just as the earth cycles have their own pace, so does this cycle. Although I don't know you guys, I'll probably always end with I love you, because I do love so much, and I do love you all. Even if you might not believe it yet, you'll come to learn that I love you guys. And with that, have an amazing night.